I go to a community college in Pennsylvania. The community college is located in a city known for being run down and quite filthy. However, my college is located on the outskirts of the city as opposed to inner city, so it's actually at a very nice part of the city. It has a river nearby, plenty of trees, nice building structure, well-lit parking lots, just a lot of things that make it feel a lot better to be around than a lot of parts in the actual city. Anyway, with the location, we do have a handful of people who have been to prison and/or are on the sexual offenders list. Most of the people whom I've met who were in prison are sincerely going to college in attempts to get their life back together, although I can't say the same for the sexual offenders who I've come across. Strangely enough, I've come across 2 prior incidents with sexual offenders in addition to the one that this story revolves around. I won't mention their stories since they're not that interesting, and nothing really bad happened to me, except for a few harassing phone calls which stopped due to me being able to block the numbers and threatening them with pressing charges for harassment. The story I'm about to tell you consists of a man whom we'll call Bill. Keep in mind, I did not know that Bill was on the sexual offenders list at the beginning of this story. I'm a computer major at the college I go to, and Bill was going for a similar computer-related degree, so we had a lot of similar classes together. I've had at least one class with Bill for the last 2 semesters. A little bit of an image of Bill. He is much older than me, in his late 40s. He's balding with whitish grey hair. He's very heavy, around 350 pounds, and just under 6 feet tall. My first semester, having the same class with him, Bill would talk to me every now and then, but never came off as weird to me. He simply came off as a lonely man who lived a boring life and didn't have many friends. So, needless to say, I felt kind of bad for him. Since it's a community college, I'm used to having classes with people of all ages. So even when we would have conversations, I never saw anything as odd. I didn't mind him talking to me, but it did start to feel like I was this man's one and only friend in the world, and he just came off as kind of annoying. Summer break hits, so I had a few months off of school until fall semester started back up. And wouldn't you know it, my one class I have with Bill. I didn't mind him being in my class, and actually, I felt a little relieved to have a classmate who I already knew. We chose our seat for the rest of the semester, and there was one seat between Bill and I, which was occupied by a very nice, older woman in her late 30s, early 40s. Everything started out normal, until about halfway through the semester, Bill randomly sends me a Facebook request. Considering that I knew him for several months, I accepted him, not thinking anything bad about it. However, I knew something was a little odd when I accepted his friend request. Not 5 minutes after that did he send me a private Facebook message asking me if I had a boyfriend. I thought this question was a little odd considering that my profile picture at the time was of my boyfriend and me. Also, in the About Me section, which is accessible to anyone who is my friend on Facebook, it is listed in there that I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for over 3 years now. I gave Bill the benefit of the doubt and thought maybe he thought the man in my photo was my friend or brother, and he didn't think of checking the About Me section. I responded to his message and I told him that I do have a boyfriend. He simply said, okay, and that was it. However, every class I had with Bill after that just got weirder and weirder. He was constantly asking me questions about my boyfriend, most of which I lied about in response because my boyfriend and our relationship, it was none of Bill's business. On top of that, whenever I missed a class, he would ask me every time why I missed class. I always used the same excuse that I was sick, but I was only sick a few days. Some days I just didn't feel like going in because the professor, he didn't take attendance. One day, I went to the restroom in the middle of class, and I checked some things on my Facebook page while sitting on the toilet. During the 15-minute break that we get in that class for having sat there for 3 hours, Bill said to me,
"Oh, how were you active 30 minutes ago if we were in class, huh?"
Obviously, I wanted him to shut his face because I didn't want the professor to think that I was on my phone in the middle of class, as opposed to just checking it while I was in the bathroom. At that point, I was frustrated with Bill for saying that, and so I said to him, "Why are you so worried when I'm on Facebook and when I'm not?" He then replied,
"Because you're obviously the Facebook queen."
That made me want to punch him square in the face because I know other girls who can't stay off their phone or Facebook, and just because I look at my page during my time in the bathroom, I'm immediately this stereotypical Facebook queen, as he puts it. Also, it seemed incredibly stalkerish that he would look at when I was last active. Anyway, there was a woman in our class who I had a different class with that semester that didn't have Bill in that class. Her name was Lorraine. She was an older woman, in her late 50s or early 60s. While I was in the class that didn't have Bill in it, I was talking to my very good guy friend. His name's Angel, and he sits across from me. A little background information on Angel. He's in his late 30s, has a wife and kids. He's a great family man and sort of sees me similar to a daughter in his eyes. There was an incident on campus once where there was a homeless man who was wandering around the parking lot that I parked in. Ever since that day, Angel has been walking me to my car to make sure that I get there safely. I'm constantly telling Angel that I'm fine walking by myself because I have mace in my school bag and a pocket knife in my car. Angel says that he'll always walk with me to my car because if something bad does happen where I can't defend myself for whatever reason, he would hate knowing that if he was there in the first place, it could have been avoided. I understand that feeling, so I let him walk with me to my car for peace of mind. I brought up Bill to Angel, and I mentioned the Facebook message that he sent me and about him constantly asking me questions about my boyfriend. Angel just looked at me weird and said,
"That sounds really strange."
Lorraine had overheard what I said, and I'm glad she did because at that point she said, "Just be careful around him." I said, "Really? Why's that?" She told me that she would tell me after class because she didn't want to discuss anything during class. Lorraine had my phone number since we're both in the same classes and sent me a text saying, "I can't say much, but look up Bill on Megan's Law. You might want to be a little cautious around him." I understand that she's not allowed to say too much because of the law, but I'm glad she said something. I find out that Bill has a record for unlawful contact communication with a minor, and I opened up this report to further reveal that he also had a file against him for having child pornography in his possession. Being 24 and not a minor, I understand that this is unrelated to me, and I find it disgusting whatever he did to get put on Megan's Law and the possession of child pornography. I'm sorry, but I can't be friends with something like that. I'd had bad vibes about Bill ever since that day, and a chill ran up my spine when I looked at his file. Angel texted me later that day since he could tell something was off. I told him what I discovered about Bill, and Angel was immediately as disgusted as I was. Angel then said to me,
"Well, it would make sense why he would like you or be attracted to you, which I think he is. You still have that baby face. You might not be a minor, but you are 24 and still look very young without any wrinkles, and that probably attracts him."
I thought about what he said, and it did sound right. My skin isn't flawless, but it's definitely wrinkle-free, and I still look pretty young. After this, I blocked Bill from Facebook that day, and that's when things started to get even more strange. I went to my class that had Bill in it, and the first thing he says to me was,
"What's wrong with you? I haven't seen you on Facebook the past couple of days."
I replied with, "I took myself off Facebook." Immediately, his face turned to this incredibly angry and aggravated face that I've never seen him make before. His face was bright red as he said to me in a very aggravated tone,
"Why would you do that?"
I replied to him calmly, "Because I just don't want to be on Facebook right now." Still, with his aggravated tone, he scoffs at me and says,
"Whatever."
At this point, I'm pretty furious. Why would he be angry with me for removing myself from Facebook? Is it because he can't look at my photos and can't stalk or creep on me anymore? I was almost angry enough to say that to him, but I kept my cool and I didn't say anything. What I find even more disturbing is that I had removed him only 2 days prior to him saying this to me, which means that he realized that I wasn't on Facebook within 2 days. I know that if one of my friends blocked me or deactivated their account, I probably wouldn't notice at all. I found that very strange and alarming that he noticed me gone that fast. I told my boyfriend about everything, and he found it extremely strange as well, but he wasn't too worried about it because he knew that I knew how to play it smart. Also, my boyfriend does not live with me, and we're sort of in a long-distance relationship at the moment, so we only get to see each other once or twice a month for a weekend at a time, so he's not always around. Things were awkward, but nothing strange really happened during that class. The next Saturday class I had with him felt very strange though. Bill kept giving me this really bad vibe, but I thought it was just my anxiety overreacting. At the time, I was freaking out inside, and so I texted my friend Angel, since we texted each other quite often. Angel lives near the campus, so he told me that he didn't mind meeting up with me to walk me to my car. I assured him that I would be okay and I was just feeling awkward in the time being. Class ended and I started walking to my car. As I was going under the bridge, which is dark and a few feet away from the main road, I hear this voice say,
"Hey."
I was walking with my earphones in and playing music through them, so I never noticed someone was behind me. I turned around and sure enough, there was Bill staring at me with the wildest look I've ever seen in someone's eyes, before an incredibly creepy smile. Before I knew it, Bill had thrown his backpack on the ground and he grabbed me around the throat. I knew he was weird, but I didn't think he was capable of this. Also, for such an out-of-shape man, I didn't think he would be that strong either. At this point, I'm trying to kick him and dig my nails into his skin as I'm trying to pull his hands off of my throat. My school bag, with the mace in it, it fell off my shoulder and it was out of reach after Bill grabbed me. At this point, I can feel myself becoming weaker and being wrestled to the ground. My vision was getting blurry and things started to seem like they were going black. Bill was still choking me, so I couldn't scream, and he had his knees on top of me. He used his knees to push my legs apart and open. He kept one hand on my throat and he used the other to roughly rub my crotch outside of my leggings when he said,
"Yeah, you liked being rubbed, don't you, you dirty whore?"
I'm positive I was starting to lose consciousness because all I remember was my vision going black and not being able to hear anything except for my heartbeat. All of a sudden though, Bill's hand, it was off of my throat and he was rolled over onto his side in the fetal position in pain. I was being helped up by my friend Angel. Apparently, Angel had a weird feeling after my text and he drove to the school we went to make sure that I was okay. Angel clocked Bill in the side of the head and kicked him in his stomach to get him off of me and keep him from getting up. Angel then said to me,
"Come on, we should probably go tell security about this and get you some medical attention."
At this point, I was standing up, but I couldn't move. I was frozen in anger and hate towards Bill. No part of fear was running through me. Instead, it was all hatred and revenge. I walked over to Bill, rolled him over, got on top of him and said, "This is what you wanted, right?" And I started punching him in the face over and over again, until his face, it started bleeding. Angel got worried that I would get in trouble for the assault, even though Bill had committed attempted rape. So Angel told Bill to clean himself up and not to tell anyone about this incident, or else he would get some friends to take care of him. Angel started walking me to my car with his arm around me. We kept looking back every now and then at Bill. We saw him get up and wipe his face before he walked in the opposite direction. Angel walked me past my car and around the parking lot a little, at least until Bill was out of sight so that Bill wouldn't know which car was mine. That was a smart move on Angel's part that I hadn't thought of. My neck was badly bruised, but I was able to cover it up with a scarf. I knew I could never forgive myself if this happened to another girl, so I called the school and I left an anonymous tip about Bill stating that I knew he was on Megan's law, and that he was just giving me some creepy vibes because it seemed as though he was following me sometimes. That was my last semester at college, so I didn't have to see Bill ever again. Thank goodness I did this because Bill had attempted the same act on another girl on campus the semester after the one I graduated in. Fortunately, the girl wasn't hurt, and Bill was quickly arrested because a campus security officer had been keeping an eye out on him, and he was following him between classes because they noticed some suspicious activity with him. All I know is that Bill did go to jail and he did some time. I don't know how much time he has done, and for all I know, he could still be in jail. I haven't seen or heard from him since that day. I have Angel to thank for my life, or my sanity at the very least. I am positive that Bill would have raped or violated me in some way. I don't know if he would have murdered me, but I'm glad to say that I didn't have the chance to find out. G'day mates, it's B-Buster here. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video guys. And I guess with a friend like Angel, you could say that this girl had the ultimate wingman. Thanks again to the Hive members that bravely shared their story for us all here, and I hope you're all doing really well. For the chance to have your story featured in a video, you can send your story to my email, which is in the description below. And as always, keep them coming guys, as this channel relies upon your stories to continue. Also, please do me a favor and just add in your email what your story is about in the description, and also provide me with a short written statement of consent, just so that I can be above board with everything. Also, please remember to tell me in the email if you would like to remain anonymous, and please change any names if you don't want particular names to be shared. As always guys, it would be awesome if you could like, share, comment and subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for updates throughout the week. You can also catch me on my second channel, all of which have links in the description below. Thanks again for always tuning in guys, for all the love and support, and I'll see you mates in the next one.